Aloha mai kako. I'm Leslie Wilcox, President and CEO of PBS Hawaii. Welcome to a special edition of HIKI NŌ, the half-hour news program featuring stories conceived, reported, written, shot, and edited by Hawaii high, middle, and elementary school students, made its debut on February 28, 2011. Before then, it was a dream shared by about 50 schools, PBS Hawaii, our community partners, and you, our supporters. Nothing like this had ever been done before, and no one knew what to expect. Let's go back in time prior to HIKI NŌ's debut for an excerpt from Backstory, a documentary about the dreaming, thinking, and doing that went into the creation of the nation's first statewide student news network.
Good morning, everyone. So glad to have you with us today. I'm Leslie Wilcox, the President and CEO of PBS Hawaii, and this is our TV studio where we shoot on a weekly basis.
The teachers actually came together and met, most of them, met each other here at PBS Hawaii in September. We had a workshop in the station. I just liked the chemistry. A media teacher in middle or high school isn't a type. They're a range of ages. They have come from all kinds of backgrounds. Some of them have never taught media before and were asked, are you willing to take this on? I mean, they're like Hawaii. They're just a mix. And they have been so remarkable to work with.
It's been a very, very exciting journey, I think, because HIKI NŌ has provided for us, I guess, the mechanism through which we can achieve or attain our ideals as teachers. As we work together, you kind of find like-minded people, and I think that's what happened with us. So there are people like Kevin on Kauai and Clint on Maui and a whole bunch, Luann out at Waianae Intermediate. And then to get together and find in private schools, charter schools, all of these other teachers who had the same ideals, and then a wonderful organization like PBS and HIKI NŌ that was going to provide us with the resources and the expertise to move forward in a very, very exciting way for our students. That was wonderful. It was a heady time for us. It still is.
All the way along, the whole point was that the students and the teachers are leading us through this. The first season is just a starting place. Where it goes from there, we really don't know.
The way HIKI NŌ came about was this organization took a look at its mission, which is promoting lifelong learning, and we looked at what we're best at. And then we took a look at community needs, and we looked for how we could serve the community best. That's the simple answer. And as a nonprofit dedicated to education, that's what we have to do.
What started the conversation was some of the video that came out of Sea Rider Productions in Waianae Middle and Waianae High School.
One thing, I went to the doctor, and then the doctor was like, if you wanna see your nephews graduate from high school and stuff, I would suggest that you start losing weight because your blood pressure is high, your cholesterol is high.
Kainoa Isla was motivated to change his life. In 10 months, he did what many would consider impossible: drop 130 pounds.
That would be one of the biggest things that it's kind of stopped me in the beginning, but I just pushed through it. Try to go for it.
He'll tell you he gained just as much as he lost.
Mao actually brought back a connection too. When you grow the food you eat, it makes you feel a lot better. So, I'm all stoked now that I cook.
Kainoa is a college intern at Ma'o Farms, but his connections go much deeper than just losing weight. It's about being rooted in the land.
This is called Tatsoe.
HIKI NŌ is a real example of someone who believes things can change, and Ma'o Farms believes HIKI NŌ can change the world.
We gotta change the world. I mean, we have to do something, because if we keep going the way we are, we're gonna end up destroying the world ourselves.
Until that day, Ma'o will continue to grow their people, planting one seed at a time. Heidi Neidhart, Sea Rider News.
Linda Brock and Leslie Wilcox approached us with this idea. They said, we have this idea of maybe doing something similar, but doing it statewide. So instead of just one school, we want different schools to participate, public, charter, and private. So they came to us and pitched this idea, and we were like, brilliant, it's wonderful, how can we help?
We realized that it wasn't only Sea Rider Productions in Waianae that was doing good work, but it was the work of other schools in the area and a bunch of other private schools that have been competing for and actually winning these national awards on a pretty consistent basis. So once we realized that, we decided, here's something that PBS Hawaii can do, is we can offer our digital platform, and we can use their natural abilities as storytellers in their communities, and leveraging our two strengths to create sort of this innovative network of schools.
The news stories are all being produced by students with guidance from their teachers. And they're reporting from what in the news business we would call bureaus in different parts of the state. In this case, they're based in their schools. And they're going to be telling us stories about issues and people in their schools and communities.
There certainly have been student news networks over the years, but this one seems a little bit potentially unique in some ways.
In a sense, you could say that it's taking the Sea Rider phenomenon and multiplying it by, the first season, 55 schools, but however many schools are going to be involved eventually.
We just wanted to help young people have equal access to 21st century skills, a vehicle that would help them with critical thinking and problem solving and innovation and curiosity and networking, something that would roll up all those 21st century skills in one place and let them go for it, give them the freedom to create.
I think we're in an era now where being able to make your voice heard and to get information out is very, very transformative and a real step in the ladder to economic and community empowerment.
These are going to be our future leaders. These are the ones that we want to bring back into the community to take the lead, to clean up the community. And it needs to start here. And we're very fortunate because we have these tools to help them learn to pay attention to issues.
Nobody really knows what's going on in Hawaii at large. The newscasts, and it's not taking anything away from them because they provide a very needed service. They're not digging into each and every community and nook and cranny. They can't. That's impossible for them, and that's not their role. They're delivering the big news that has the biggest and most immediate impact on the public at large.
There's no way that a traditional news organization can compete with that. There's been a lot of cutbacks in resources and bureaus and just people out in the street. And something like HIKI NŌ is really exciting. The idea that young people are going to be gathering information and maybe providing a little more depth than people are used to.
I think with this emphasis nowadays on getting it quickly, putting it on first, we forget about other aspects of the news that are equally important. Journalism that explains complex problems.
These are their stories, and it will be their stories. It's in their household. It will be their aunties and their uncles and their friends and their grandmas and their grandpas. And they're the ones who can get the stories, and they can ask the critical questions, and they can get the footage. And if they're trained right, true journalism where it's good in-depth stories, HIKI NŌ will be a success because people will see that Hawaii is really a unique place.
When I first heard about HIKI NŌ, it was just really exciting to find that an organization like PBS Hawaii was looking to back a student news type broadcast throughout the state, looking for stories that were done and created by students, and to give them that voice in the community, to share what's going on. I was just really, really excited to hear about it, and I was just very pleased to be asked to be part of it.
It's actually really exciting, to see the whole process finally slowly come together now at the end, from day one, where we were. But a lot of mixed emotions, anticipation, but a lot of stress, hoping to meet the PBS standards and, uphold that.
Anybody can learn to run a camera. I mean, push record and you can run a camera. But now they have to think of a story, you have to tell the story, you have to film it, they got to get the sound. So it's a whole integrated process, which I think is one of the best attributes of the program.
I hope that our students, what they get out of this program is that they're no different than any other student from any other school across the state. Whether you're from the Big Island, from Maui, from Kauai, from Oahu, they're all very much alike.
It's such an amazing thing to see come together, and it's what I thought it would be, and more now.
Well, HIKI NŌ finally did premiere on February 28, 2011, and it was a huge success. From that very first episode, Hawaii students, under the guidance of their teachers and PBS Hawaii's HIKI NŌ production team, have met high PBS standards for journalistic integrity, balance, and fairness. Here is a story from Chiefus Kamakahele Middle School on Kauai that aired in the premiere episode and set the HIKI NŌ bar very high.
For as long as anyone can remember, high school football games on Kauai have been played at night. So, it's unusual to be playing a game under the sun rather than under the lights. But as of the 2010 KIF football season, the County of Kauai has decided that the traditional Friday night football games be moved to Saturday afternoon. But why? It's because of this little guy, the Nuo shearwater, an endangered species found only on Kauai.
These birds are unique, and they're very special to Kauai, and that comes with a responsibility. So we need to work together to protect them and make sure that they're here for future generations to come. The bright football lights can confuse the birds when they're on their first flight out to sea, and they can crash into the ground and sometimes they'll die. Because their population is declining so rapidly, we need to do everything we can to prevent this from happening.
But others may not agree.
They look forward to their senior season in the lights with a full crowd of fans, band playing, the fans behind them, and that was all taken away. And we have day games, which is in the hot sun. Our fans are half here, half gone.
In my opinion, I like the nighttime games better, only because it's more comfortable to watch the game.
I have to ask off from my workplace, and that's income that I need to take care of my family here.
Although it would be easy to point fingers, Mayor Bernard Carvalho can't do much about it.
We have various amounts of night activity. So the biggest issue is coming up with a plan to address the lighting at night, which means that, number one, for some facilities, we would have to actually turn off the lights. Otherwise, we could be charged with paying for each bird that is injured or falls from the sky due to the lights at $10,000 per bird.
Well, it's not really a black and white issue. It's not, can we have football or can we have birds? I think we all need to work together and find a solution to the problem.
Currently, the County of Kauai is searching for that solution. But until they find it, the lights will remain off for football on Kauai. This is Lorinda Sasan from Chiefus Kamakahele Middle School for HIKI NŌ.
What the 50-plus schools involved in Season 1 had pulled off was nothing short of a miracle. Because their work had been done separately within their individual schools, PBS Hawaii thought it would be a good idea to bring them all together, teachers and students alike, for a day of celebration, networking, and training. Here's what happened.
On Saturday, September 10, 2011, 220 HIKI NŌ students and teachers congregated at the East-West Center on the University of Hawaii Manoa campus for the first annual HIKI NŌ statewide conference. Hosted and organized by PBS Hawaii, the conference was a celebration of the success of HIKI NŌ's inaugural season and an educational day of hands-on workshops to prepare teachers and students for the October 2011 launch of HIKI NŌ Season 2. Participants from across the island chain were greeted with an opening address by PBS Hawaii President and CEO Leslie Wilcox, who then introduced the keynote speaker, CBS News photojournalist Les Rose. Les held the crowd spellbound for 2 hours as he showed inspiring examples of stories he had shot and co-produced for CBS News. The learning continued throughout the day with workshops on news writing, on-camera presentation, camera and lighting techniques, and editing. The conference culminated in an awards banquet that recognized the stellar work students had done in Season 1. Congratulations to all the winners and to all HIKI NŌ students. You make Hawaii proud.
Word about HIKI NŌ soon spread to the continent. PBS stations around the country began to recognize the power of the HIKI NŌ model to engage communities and inject new life into journalism. And just a year after its premiere, HIKI NŌ received the prestigious EDGE Award for Innovation at the National Public Media Summit in Washington, D.C. At the award presentation, we screened the following HIKI NŌ story from Y&I Intermediate before a room full of public television executives. They were very impressed by the work of what they thought were high school students. I had to gently correct them. No, this story was done by middle school students.
I should organize my room, it's a mess.
13-year-old Crystal Sabeto has a list for everything.
And I still have to learn rifles. Ready?
For a media producer and color guard captain with a 4.0 GPA,
and 4.
Everything must be neat, organized, and in control.
Move 1. Oh, wrong one. Go back to center, I'm sorry.
While many teenagers worry about who their next date will be, Krista worries about who will remember to buy food for her family. However, there are some things lists can't control.
My greatest concern is, when I don't know how many more years I have. I have a stage 4 cancer.
She's never gonna see me in a graduation cap. She's never gonna see me walk across the stage. I don't even care what high school it is anymore. She would just never see me do that.
In the U.S., 1 in 17 people are diagnosed with colon cancer. Mary Lou Sabeto is one of them.
Actually, yes, it was a surprise because she was so healthy. She was really active and all that. She would always walk with me to school. I know that I'm not going to turn out lucky this time. No matter what happens, it's not going to come out the way I want it.
My greatest concern is me not being around anymore. Who's she going to talk to? I want to be there for her, which I don't know if I could be.
Well, it's impossible for her not to be there because she was always there. I don't know how I'm gonna deal with that. There 8 counts for the A's to come back in.
In order for Crystal to deal with the uncontrollable, she keeps herself busy.
She stays busy. She's involved with school. I think that helps her keep her attitude up.
As Crystal grows, so does her list. The challenges change as much as she does, but the one constant trait is her willingness to meet the struggles head-on.
I think it made me stronger, but not that anybody could actually notice. It's kind of like an internal struggle. I think I just kind of deal with it myself. I try to figure things out. I kind of had to grow up a little.
This is Gina Jove reporting from Y&I Intermediate School for HIKI NŌ.
HIKI NŌ was never meant to be static. From its inception, we always thought of it as an open and evolving educational initiative. It has exceeded our expectations and surprised and inspired us at nearly every turn. One of the areas we're focusing on now is making sure our teachers are well-versed in the concepts and technology of digital media so that they, in turn, can teach those skills to their students. To this end, PBS Hawaii has invested a great deal in teacher training. It's an investment that must be made to ensure the future success of HIKI NŌ.
So glad to have you with us today.
I'm Leslie Wilcox, the president and CEO of PBS Hawaii, and this is our TV studio where...
In the first season, what we were really looking to do was to be the first program ever to integrate public schools, private schools, and charter schools, 3 educational systems in one statewide project. If we could just get some of those connections, we thought that would be the base.
We had the luck of circumstances that, that made that possible. PBS Hawaii broadcasts to our entire state, and that's a rare thing in broadcasting across the country. We're probably one of the few. And also we have Hawaii has the only centralized public school system, so you can organize it. So those 2 facts alone made it possible to launch the nation's first statewide student news network.
After the first season, we had a steering committee meeting, and we were talking to these teachers who advise us about how to change things or improve what we're doing. And we kept saying, we want to make HIKI NŌ easier for you. And finally, one of the teachers said, I'm not doing HIKI NŌ because it's easy. I'm doing HIKI NŌ because it's a challenge. It challenges my students. And I've learned that when my students are challenged, they meet the expectations, and often they even go beyond the expectations.
Teachers are the lifeblood in education, and they're the driving force of HIKI NŌ, quite simply. They will be the ones who will be there year after year as the students graduate.
I think what's been reinforced for me is the need for this and how important it is. And that, I think, is what is really driving it. The other need that, and I think it's being reflected more now, is the real passion by the teachers to learn more and to develop their skills. We found that they're really hungry for this. So we got them together in a place and gave them some really good training, some inspirational sessions and some practical sessions. They challenged us, and we challenged them back and said, okay, we're gonna put you to the test. You're gonna learn television production in 2 days.
One of the things we're seeing is the birth of a new educational community in the form of these teachers who are gaining new skills and new strengths. Teachers who were, even in neighboring towns, they didn't know each other. Their classrooms were silos. Now they have solid colleagues on whom they can call upon and rely. And there's a collective wisdom in getting together in this collaborative way and building.
I don't really have any technical support where I live, so I really lean towards getting support from the other teachers on Maui. I email them and they're very helpful. I come to these workshops and I feel good because everybody's going through the same problems as I am with equipment, and so I know that I'm not the only one.
I thought that the breakout sessions were really good to learn exactly what HIKI NŌ is expecting of us. I got to know my 3 teammates better than anyone else at the conference, and now I feel very confident in what I learned from them and confident to call them that they'll be there for me. We exchange numbers. I feel like I now have a bit of a backup.
What I take away is that they are very appreciative of the fact that someone is offering them training, that someone is coming to their schools and working with them and their students, that we believe in them. We believe they can do this. They can produce a 2 or 3 minute story that is of the quality that can air on PBS Hawaii.
We realized after a certain point that for this to go on, we have to invest in the teachers. They are the key. I mean, the students are the recipients of the learning and are doing the stories, and the audience is gaining from that by seeing their point of view. But the engine that's going to keep this going are the teachers.
What we'd like to do as a TV station is bring community together, and this is one way in which it's happening. There's this energy that comes from people just reaching out into new areas and sharing.
It's a way for us to share our story.
Thank you for joining me on this incredible HIKI NŌ journey from dream to launch to success to evolution. Our board of directors and our staff feel it's a journey that will continue to enrich Hawaii students and teachers for generations to come. Most of all, it'll enrich the community at large as we reap the rewards of seeing Hawaii and the world through the eyes of our young people. Make sure to join us next week for a brand new episode of HIKI NŌ. For PBS Hawaii, I'm Leslie Wilcox. Aloha.